Hey everyone, it's Amanda with My Life My Way. It is Saturday, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm starting to feel a little bit of pressure. We're like 2 weeks away from hitting up final exams for the high school program that I've been in, and I'm panicking a little. My marks are good, I'm doing okay that way. It just, knowing that there's 3 final exams, 2 essays, all in the next 2 to 3 weeks is a lot. I haven't had this heavy of an exam schedule since the last time I was in grade 12. The exams themselves aren't as scary as when I pass my paramedic exams, because those are heavy. There's only one, but it's massive and it's heavy and everything rides on it, and it's a $700 exam, so there's a bit kind of riding on it. But this many exams in this many wildly different subjects is a little bit of pressure. So I'm doing okay. I'm starting to panic. I actually just finished a book report, which makes me feel like I'm 12 years old again. Wow. I read a book called The Night. It's on the grade 12 syllabus here in Alberta. And actually, I'm going to show you the book. Hold on. It's on the couch beside me. So this is called The Night. Or just Night, actually. It's not even The Night. It's by Elie Wiesel. He is a Auschwitz survivor. And oh, you got finals too? I'm so sorry, Kelsey. Kelsey, what are you taking in school right now? But yeah, so this is the book I just did a book report on. And he is a concentration camp Auschwitz survivor. He actually got moved around quite a few times. He was only 16 when he went through the system because he lied and said he was 18, so they didn't automatically just kill him the first night he was there. And it's a very dark book. It's very hard to read, just in that it's a very heavy subject matter. But the book itself was phenomenal, and I picked it. There's 4 books that you can pick from. And I picked it for 2 reasons. For one, because I could buy it from my favorite bookstore. There is a bookstore in Edmonton called Daisy Chain, and I've linked to them before in my Instagram. So if you want to follow my Instagram, by the way, the handle's down in the description box. She's a individually owned secondhand store in the city, and she's wonderful. She's super enthusiastic about books. She loves them, and she had this in stock. Out of the 4 that were there on the syllabus. And the other reason I picked it is because a few years ago, for those of you guys that have followed us for quite a while, when we went through IVF, we went to IVF in Prague. So we went to, while we were there, we went to a Jewish ghetto. We went to a concentration camp. We went to Auschwitz, which is a death camp, not quite a concentration camp. There's a little bit of a difference there. And so there was some pretty vast differences between them, but we wanted to go because one of the things that really sucks as a Canadian is that World War II history and World War I history did not occur on our land. That's not a thing. There's nowhere you can really go see anything personally. There's first-hand accounts for sure. We definitely have survivors from that war and people that immigrated here afterwards, and we had soldiers in those wars. But there's nothing to go sort of see other than people. And to be honest with you, with this war ending in 1944, we're also starting to run out of those people as well. And all we have left is the books that they wrote and the memoirs that they left behind. And being able to go to Europe and being able to stand in Auschwitz for the first time, that is something else. It was really different to finally put kind of a face to all those stories, because for us, the war ended in 1944. I wasn't born until 84. It's a full 40 years. And it just seems like such distant history for people like myself. It's not that far back, obviously. We still have survivors around, but it feels so disconnected from where we are. And it was phenomenal for an experience to be able to go and stand there in person. Heavy. It wasn't like a fun day where we raced around and had a lot of giggles, but it was a good day. And very informational. And it was a really cool historical lesson until we got into this room where they stored and sort of showed all of the personal belongings in Auschwitz. And So there's this big sort of gallery style room, and then there's like an offshoot. I don't know what you'd call it, where you're like looking into a room through like a window, so you can see in, but you obviously can't walk in. And inside of these sort of rooms with the windows, and I don't know what I'm looking for. The word alcove is not a big enough word for the size of these places. And one had all the suitcases, and one had all the shoes, and like it was just kind of phenomenal to see. And look at how many pairs of shoes they recovered afterwards was unbelievable. And then I was doing okay until we walked by one of the tables and had a little girl's pair of shoes on it and a little girl's shirt. Might have been 2. And when you look at it and realize this little girl never made it past her first day because they terminated, I don't even know if that's the word I should use, anybody that was under the age of 18 and on their first night. And so, looking at that generally speaking, they were naked walking into these so-called showers because you were going to have a shower. And knowing that this little girl's mom likely had to remove the clothing from this little girl to put her into what they thought was a shower. And it was just one of those moments where you kind of look at it and it kind of brings it to a very, very personal, holy shit kind of a level. And I actually included it in my book report. I took a picture of that pair of shoes and that little shirt, and I put it in my book report. I have on my Instagram, if you go way back, you're going to have to go back to 2000. Oh God, what year would we go there? 2018, maybe? 2017? You have to go a ways back. But we did actually share up all those pictures. So if you want to go see them and if you want to see what I'm talking about, it's in there. But I put it in because this is, other than reading this book, that's the first time that World War II history became like a very personal level. And this book was really cool because it's written in first person. You're literally seeing the war and these concentration camps and stuff through the eyes of a 16-year-old boy. And it's an amazing novel. It's only like 108 pages. It literally, if you sit down to read it, you can read it in a day. It's not a big book. It is a very heavy subject matter, obviously. But it's a great book. So at least I got to read a book that was entertaining. I'm assuming the other 3 were also very good. I just have no idea what they were. As soon as I heard there was this one, I just sort of stopped. That was kind of the end of it. This is the book I was going to read. But yeah, so I just finished off my book report. Hopefully it goes okay. I have not done a book report since I was like 16. Probably was the last time I did one. I might have done one when I was 17. I may have just not. I looked at my marks. They weren't great. I just saw my transcripts lately. My first mark going through English 30 was like 65. Like barely passable for the 30 stream. It's not a good child. Did okay. I passed. But it wasn't great. My mark this time going into like these final exams and these last couple of big projects is like over 95% for English. Which is mind-boggling. I've never been that good at it. This is actually the class I was most worried about, and I'm actually doing the best in, so. But it's kind of cool. So that's what I just finished up. Putting the final touches on it, putting it onto PDF, and then I'm going to upload it to my teacher here in a few minutes. And then it's going to be math homework time. I got into the last 2 chapters of math. I'm in 20-2, which is the applied stream. Which back when I was a kid, we used to call like the stupid people math, and then I got into it and they're like, no, it's not like that anymore. It's more like the applied math. It's stuff you might actually use on sort of a day-to-day basis. I'm like, okay. So I got into it and they had like squaring and square roots and that kind of stuff earlier. We did trigonometry for some basic stuff, which was awesome. I use that on a regular basis. Anytime you do like any at-home construction, you got angles to work with. You got to figure it out. So like some of that I still remember. And because I did like math 20-1 when I was in high school the first time around. The last 2 chapters are all about quadratic functions and quadratic equations. And I was a little bit traumatized getting into this because I have no idea what that even means. And then the first section, or the first page of it was like, from previous lessons we've talked a little bit about stuff. So you got to pick out in these pictures which one of these is a parabola. First of all, You're gonna have to tell me what a parabola is, because that word sounds not English. I have no idea what you're talking about. I did get it kind of figured out. I've only finished off the first little lesson in quadratic functions. There's, I think, almost close to 20 lessons I got to get through in the next couple of weeks to get it done and over with. But it's not great. So, yeah. So that's what I'm going to spend the rest of my afternoon doing. We're in the middle of a heat wave, so I'm hiding back in the basement because it's cool enough down here I can, like, at least sit with my blanket on top of me instead of just roast like I do upstairs, because it's 28 degrees in the upstairs part of my house, which is entirely too hot. For those of you guys that are in the United States, that gets to like 80 degrees inside the house. 80, 82, I think. That's how it works out. Don't quote me on that math, because that's not a thing I'm for sure of. Yeah, and that we're just trying to stay cool. I work tomorrow, so I'll be back on the ambulance tomorrow for 12 hours, so that'll be fun. Apparently it's been wild on the ambulance here lately. I don't know what it is, but like, for what's going on, we're understaffed and undertracked, so stay safe. I'm not gonna do like the whole like stay home and blah blah blah, don't see anybody, but just do me a favor and don't drive like an idiot. I had to go to the vet's office yesterday. Took my dog down. Not anything crazy, just he's old and he goes for regular checkups. He had to go get blood work and stuff done, make sure his thyroid's still functioning, because we got him on thyroid meds now. He has been for quite a while. And just some basic checkup stuff. And we drove down there. Some dude, this happened to me twice, once on the way down and once on the way back, where I was in the left-hand lane, somebody was in the right-hand lane, and some guy in the right-hand lane beside me decided the guy in front of him wasn't driving fast enough, and literally cut me off to get into the lane I was in. Twice. In a round trip drive. It is not very far. I don't go out of the city. I don't go very far. It's like a 20-minute drive. Cut off twice. Stop being stupid on the road. We don't have enough trucks for this. Basically the entire country is in an ambulance crisis, just in case you didn't know. British Columbia on the west coast is having a mass exodus because they've decided that they don't want to sign a new contract with them. So they've gone back to the old contract. And the old contract pays your paramedics $2 an hour. You get paid an on-call wage. So if you get called in for an ambulance, like because somebody needs an ambulance, you get paid, I think it's like 21 or 22 bucks an hour is the PCP, which is the level that I'm at. And if you don't get called in for your 2 days that you're on call for, you make 48 bucks. You can't have another job. You can't go out drinking. You really can't go out to dinner because you have to run out fast enough. You can't pay the tab fast enough. It's complicated. And they're going to pay them $2.50 an hour. So, yeah. So that's great. Super good times. But we've been in what we call a red alert. Red alert in Alberta means that you have less than 3 ambulances available in the city. Usually it means we've come down to none. Which means that if you're calling for 911, we'll get to you eventually, which is an awful way to run an ambulance system. So there's been lots of, it even hit the media the other day that we've been in red alert a lot lately, lots more than we should have been, and we're just basically understaffed and undertrucked. And we need the government to push for more for us, and they're not doing that. So it finally hit the media, so hopefully everybody's contacting their MLA, although I don't know how much that's going to work with our government that we've gotten power to. You never know. But it's going to be insanity. So I'll let you know how it goes next week when we have another chat. But I'm on noon to midnight tomorrow. So yeah, no, the ambulance shortage around here and across Canada is wild. And the United States is no better because the United States pays their paramedics as volunteers, which means you don't get paid. It's a volunteer job. I don't know a waitress that would work as a volunteer. I don't know a lot of people that would work as volunteers as a full-time gig because it doesn't pay your visa bill back. Your landlord's not going to take, hey, I work for a volunteer service as rent money. It's not how it works. So yeah, I didn't know either until, well, like once I got into medicine is when I found out that most of the United States, outside of the major epicenters, outside the major cities, they're all volunteer service. It's wild to me. That's like asking a nurse to volunteer at a hospital. What is happening down there? It's wild stuff. But anyways, so yeah, so things are a little bit insane. So we'll see if I actually end up doing transfers. I'm on a transfer truck tomorrow, meaning that I'm not supposed to be running emergency calls. I literally move people from one hospital to another, or one hospital to like the old folks home to get them out of the hospital. And what it does is allow them to keep people moving in beds, right? Get them out of the emergency department, move them upstairs into an actual unit they need to be in, or take them home from emergency departments or the units that they've been in, take them back home because they're not sick anymore, or they're less sick enough we can take them home and just have them follow up with their family doctor on another prescription medication, which happens sometimes. And because we take old folks home. And we'll see if I actually do any of those transfers. The last time I picked up a transfer car, I only did 2 transfers in our entire night. The rest of it was all emerge calls. The emergency department was backed up too far. So, good times. It's been crazy. It's been a little insanity. So we'll see how this goes. But Kelsey, good luck on your exams too. For anybody else that is doing summer school right now, that is doing summer courses right now. If you got finals coming up too, I feel ya. It sucks, and I'm sorry. But let me know how you guys are doing. Let me know if you're doing final exams this time around. If you're in school right now, or if you got kids that are in school, because there's summer school going on for the kids. My next door neighbor's 16-year-old is actually doing the same math class I'm doing, but in his summer school. So we're having a good laugh over the fence about like what we've learned in class today. It's a weird conversation to have with a 16-year-old, but whatever, I'll take it. It was funny. And yeah, let me know what you're up to. Make sure that you stay safe. Ooh, that wasn't English. Can we try that sentence again? Make sure you stay safe. Don't drive like an idiot. Be nice to your neighbors and your families. And if you can't be nice, it's just the way the world needs to be sometimes. And yeah, take care, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.